Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of the Young People's Money Podcast. I am your host, Leanna Chow. With this podcast, I aim to normalize having open and honest conversations about money amongst young people, which is important because at the end of the day, it's how our world goes round. Today, our guest is one of my good friends, Ariel.
Hi, my name is Ariel. I am a Tesla maintenance engineer, and I also work as a photographer as a side hustle.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait to learn more about both of those things. To get started, let me ask you question number 1.
Sure.
How did you grow up, and what was your family's relationship with money like?
I grew up here in Oakland. It's basically pretty normal childhood, I guess, as a Latino.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a household where my older sister was basically the one raising me for the most part, because my mom would basically be working most of the time. My relationship with money and my family's relationship with money, wasn't very good. We weren't very educated in finances and things like that. Back in the day, growing up, my family never really talked about money. To us kids, I think that's more of a Latino thing, that they don't share their finances with their kids. It's a grown up business, basically.
Mm-hmm. And did you grow up poor, or like what was your perception of your family's like financial status as a kid?
We weren't dirt poor, I would say, but we did struggle just because my family didn't know how to control the money. So we were in debt a lot of times. I mean, we did have food on the tables, thank God, thanks to my mom. But we didn't have any like things for like lavish things. I didn't have any video games growing up. We had like basic computer things. We had basic clothes, like just enough to survive. Basic for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Hearing you talk about like your upbringing and how like it was just so closed off, like among the adults, like
Yeah.
finances weren't something that your parents were open about. Like that is something that's very common with like immigrant families. At least that's what I've learned from like the previous episodes that I've recorded with my friends who are also from
Hmm.
immigrant families. And I feel like it's a very common thing to like not like know too much about like investments or anything like that,
Hmm.
and just like there's a heavy emphasis on like saving as much as you can, and like and then pretty much like living paycheck to paycheck like is a norm.
Basically, yeah. Like for at least, like as you said, immigrant families. A lot of the times, our families also sent back money back to our country.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I know my mom still sends some money to my grandma, but before she would try to help all her siblings, and that would also cut into our lifestyle here. And she realized that it wasn't worth it for her, since a lot of it was going to waste.
Mm-hmm. Did both your parents work when you were growing up?
Yes, yeah, they did. So my family is a little bit irregular since I had two moms, growing
Mm-hmm.
up,
Oh,
but
cool. Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, they both worked. One of my moms worked basically 12 hours plus, like I do now, and then my biological mom, she did work a lot more too, growing up. So that's why I said my sister was basically the one that saw me grow up for the most part.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And like just hearing you say that, like you're one of the people that I know who like just works all the time, and like that makes sense now because it was really normal in your family.
Yes, yes, it is. I like to get hands on, so I like to see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing.
Yeah. So, would you say that you have a good relationship with money now? Rank it from 1 to 10.
I would say it's a 7. It has gotten a lot better. I would say in the past year, I've gotten a lot better with money.
Mm-hmm.
Just because not only gotten like a better job, but also because I've become more aware of
Mm-hmm.
where my money's coming from and where I'm spending it.
Mm-hmm.
When I hit 25, I kind of hit me like I know it sounds like a quarter life crisis kind of thing, but it is. It's basically like buckle down, get your money straight, start investing. You're getting older, kind of thing. So I it's gotten a lot better recently.
It's kind of like a best case scenario quarter life crisis because like when people have like life crisis, like midlife crises, like they like buy a convertible and like, get a really young girlfriend or whatever. But
Oh,
like quarter life crisis, quarter life crisis, you might like spend all your money on like a trip or something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
But you had like a good quarter life crisis, it sounds like, in
Yes,
terms of
yes.
finances.
Fortunately, yeah, I've been very fortunate to have a pretty good, coming of age. The 25 years old already, you know, I kind of realized that I have to do certain things and sacrifice certain things before um, trying to, just have fun and things like that. I still have fun, of course, but not as much as I like, not as careless as I used to be with my money.
So, you're actually the first guy that I've had on this podcast, and I wanted to talk with you about money in relationships. There is this societal wide expectation that is like being changed nowadays that men have to provide
Yeah.
in a relationship. How do you feel about that, and how have you approached it in your own relationship?
Um, at first, I had a really like mindset that everything was 50-50. That's what I was taught somewhat growing up, like everything was 50-50. But like I said, as I got older, there's certain like things as a guy that I come to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it's not always going to be 50-50. It feels good to me to provide in what I earn with my girlfriend. She's very, also she's very, she spoils me too. It doesn't go all one way, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've had a balance where obviously since I make a lot more money than she does at the moment, I don't mind picking up certain things. Like I pay for the full rent, but she also helps me around the house more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do work odd hours, she does help me a lot with mostly cooking. She loves cooking.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, so
I
she
hate
helps me with
cooking.
that.
Uh huh.
And that helps me save money. She also helps me with like making the grocery list. We go together grocery shopping, but I pay most of it. And I'm okay with that, obviously, and she's okay with that to some degree. It does
Mm-hmm.
feel a little weird to her now lately since I've been paying for most of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we've come to a balance where she pays for like a lot of the things when we go out, and I
Mm-hmm.
pay for more like the basic necessities in the like day-to-day living.
Yeah, like there's a good balance and like a give and take.
Yeah, of course. It's always a conversation you need to have with your partner, of course, like of what are the expectations, especially if it's a
Mm-hmm.
new couple. I know a lot of people nowadays expect the guy to basically either pick up the slack or either be 50-50. It's just like I said, it's just a conversation you need to have with the significant other.
Yeah, it's like a very individual
Hmm.
relationship type of thing. Have you ever felt pressure as a man to like provide? I know you said you like providing,
Yeah,
but like, have you ever felt like that pressure, like you have to, you don't have a choice?
I did when I was not making enough money because
Uh-huh.
obviously I felt like I was. It sounds very rough, but I was failing as like a man not to be able to provide a certain quality of life to my girlfriend. Since we got together in 2019, we've always had a roommate, except for like a year in between. Always had like roommates or stuff like that. I always felt like she was unhappy, but we've opened up our conversations about money. How what our expectations as a couple. Obviously, I've grown in my career, I've got more money, and I'm able to actually provide what I want. I think
Mm.
that's the biggest thing is for me actually working towards not feeling like I guess a failure in some degree. But it's just how I grew up to be.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate as well. Like,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people like grew up similarly, from a similar background as you, and men do feel a lot of men like I think there's been more conversation around it lately, where like men feel like so much pressure, and like I think that's important to have as well, just because we can like debunk or like not debunk, I guess like kind of take down the toxicity of like
Uh-huh.
traditional gender roles that may be like toxic in some ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, moving on to question number two, what is or are your source or sources of income? I know you mentioned this when you introduced yourself, but if you could give like a little more description into each of them and as to like what you do on a daily basis, and then what lands in your bank account monthly.
So I work as a maintenance engineer at Tesla. So basically, I fix, replace any parts in their machines. Not their robots specifically, because that's a separate, higher team than what I do, but mostly like conveyor belts, pulleys. like things that I can basically just get my hands on that doesn't need any programming. That's
Hmm.
all me. And then team comes in and makes sure everything's working correctly. I like to get my hands dirty, basically. I like to work
Hmm.
my hands and build things and fix things. That's why I got into maintenance, especially at Tesla. There's a lot of machines. I
Hmm.
like working in the background of things. No, it's not customer service, thank God. I don't like being yelled at. Machines don't yell at me, so that's why I'm there. I love it.
Hmm.
Working at Tesla, it's very, you have a lot of opportunities, not gonna lie, working at Tesla. And there's always space to grow. I've seen people like begin at just working as an assembly line worker and then go up into being a manager at one of their stations. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I actually realized that I just don't know this about you, but do you have a college degree? And is that college degree, if you have one, relevant to, or like, did it get you this job?
I No, I don't honestly. That's one of
Hmm.
the biggest things that I only spent a lot of money at trying to get a college degree in the beginning. This was
Hmm.
back in 2015.
Hmm.
I went to college for 2 years, and as first as a human biology major because I thought I was gonna go into anesthesiology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, money and stuff like that. I want money.
Hmm.
That was my thought process.
Oh, that was
Then
me. That
yeah,
yeah, same.
as time went by, I realized I really hated just honestly biology. Just I really
Yeah.
hated it, like human bio and chem, all the kind of just. I was like, I don't want to do this. Switched to mathematics and realized I didn't like that either.
Hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm spending thousands of dollars of college in college, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I dropped out and I
Hmm.
started looking for what I like to do, and I ended up being here. I'm pretty happy where I am right now.
When you were talking about, going to college,
Hmm.
to like major in something that would give you money, I just think it's kind of funny because I feel like it's not a unique experience.
Yeah,
Like I feel like every immigrant child like feels the pressure to like go to a 4-year university, major in something STEM that'll get you money, get a job in something that you fucking hate, or like it doesn't matter if you like it or not, get a job, earn the money, buy a house and settle down. Like that is like the American dream to like a lot of immigrant
yeah. That
families.
was my thought process as a 17, almost 18-year-old going into college. Just get money and buy a house
Yeah.
for my family. But it became a really big weight on me going through college.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. And like when we're 17, like we don't know shit. Like how are we supposed to decide like what we want to do for the rest of our
Yeah,
lives?
and my school, honestly, it was very weird since they decided to focus a lot of on academics. They didn't
Mhm.
really have any like exploratory classes or anything like that. It was basically the basic math,
Mhm.
English, science, chemistry. That's it. That we didn't have any like computer science, or the only like optional language we had was Mandarin, like to learn as a foreign
Mhm.
language. So it's very like very straight and narrow.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing they focus on. They did get kids into really good schools, but I felt like a lot of them fell out and actually are kind of behind in their degrees because we never had the chance to realize what we actually wanted to do. And a lot of them that I personally know hate what they're doing now.
Mhm. One thing that I've realized like pretty recently in the past couple years is that you really don't need a college degree. And like that is something I took a really long time to like realize, just because coming from like an immigrant family where my parents were like education is the most important thing ever. You have to go to college, like it's not negotiable. You have to. And if you don't, you'll like literally become a homeless person and like fail forever and like work at McDonald's or whatever. Um, and I'm just like, you really don't need to go to college. There are so many jobs out there.
Yeah.
And like a lot of jobs, most jobs like train on the job. And so it's not like you need like 4 years of a really expensive college education just to get a good job.
For me, even going into community college first, I would have done.
Hmm.
Just because there's like a lot of more classes that I could have explored than going
Hmm.
straight into a 4-year university. That I would have taken that path instead.
Hmm.
If I had to redo it again, but I don't regret
Yeah.
it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What college did you end up going to straight out of high school?
UC Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Right. I also went to a UC. I went to San Diego. And so, we took on a lot of debt to pay for that, didn't we?
God, yeah. Um, I actually got into a lot of debt because I went into the summer program. My
Mm-hmm.
counselor told me that they had everything was covered. Like
Oh
they
no.
meant everything as in for the classes, not for living situation, not for the dorm.
Oh God. And you didn't know that until
And
after
I
you
didn't
got
know
yourself
that
into it.
until after, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you need to pay this. If not, we won't give you another dorm." But thank God,
Ah!
that didn't happen. I was able to go my second year, and then I
Oh my
stopped
goodness.
going after that, and I paid that off, thank God. So I don't owe that anymore.
Yeah, that's really misleading. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So you work at Tesla
Yes.
as a maintenance engineer, and you had another source of income that I thought that I think is really cool. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do photography on the side. Um, I have my Instagram, of course, Ariel Base Shots. Find me there.
Mm-hmm.
um, I love it. It's also a source of like stress relief, and it's also a hobby of mine.
Yeah, I love that.
Because I like taking pictures. Don't like the editing process, but sometimes I just find it. I find that's the most worth it because that's when like probably like 50% of the work comes in. Like when the result comes out, it just feels very satisfying, even though it takes a lot of time to do.
I love that you were able to turn this into a stream of income when it started out as a passion. Like you recently just got paid for a photo or like a few photos that you took, right, for like a
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah, for a magazine. I went to a group photo shoot, and one of the models, I guess, she liked how I took the pictures. She has her own agency,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up taking pictures for a magazine, and it got published, and I got paid some money for that. Thank God. Yeah, it was really fun experience. I didn't honestly realize that anything was gonna come from that, but
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to go to the right group meet to meet these people, and they're amazing creators. Yeah, it was just a really good opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Did you go into photography expecting it to be a stream of income?
No, not really. It was more of a distraction at first. When I was
Yeah.
in college, I started in 2016. That's
Mm-hmm.
when I got my first DSLR. Before that, I had just like a point shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just more of a distraction. I was in a really bad position at that time, and I was just wanted to see a little bit of beauty in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds kind of cheesy, but it
No,
helped
not
me
at
a
all.
lot. So yeah, that's how it started, and then I just got into it more as time went. I got more equipment, which it gets really expensive once
Yeah.
you put a lot of money into it. So
There's like a conversation around this topic where it's like you shouldn't monetize the things that you love. How do you feel about that? And like, are you happy that you like monetize this?
I feel that that's true to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
because if that's your main source of money, it is gonna get very stressful,
Mm-hmm.
and there is gonna be some pressure because you have to obviously pay bills and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I leave it as my second source of income. Like if I didn't work for as a photographer, it wouldn't affect me all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I like to have the extra pocket money, the extra, it's my disposable income to some degree.
Yeah.
But like I said, if it is your main source of income, it will become stressful.
Mm-hmm. I love that answer, actually. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so to get juicy now, what lands in your bank account monthly?
Um, it depends on month to month, honestly, but
Mm-hmm.
on average about 5,500.
Mm-hmm.
On a good month, it could be up to 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's basically what lands every 4 weeks.
Okay, and so
Yeah.
why does it vary? Is it just because of the hours that you work?
Yeah, so that not only the hours I work, sometimes we have holidays, in
Mm-hmm.
between. Tesla does have a lot of holidays. Like President's Day just passed, and we got paid. I didn't even realize until I looked at my bank account this morning. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, extra money.
Nice.
But yeah, holidays, and just also if I get more photo shoots, then I'll make more money that month too.
What's the split like between the Tesla job and then the photography?
So Tesla, I work about 42 hours, let's say, per week. I guess my photography approximately every week, maybe 8 hours. It's not much, especially now since it's been raining. It's kind of slowed down a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, about 8 to 16 hours a week, with editing and all that.
How much do you make from your photography?
A month I make anywhere from, let's say, $300 to $600. 600,
Okay.
like on the like that would be like 2 to 3 jobs a month.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then that's not included in the 6,000 or like 5,500
Yeah,
that
that
you
actually
mentioned
that
earlier.
is. It's kind of like I said. That's why it kind of varies on.
Got it.
So, but like average, like month to month, I would say like about 55. Like I can guarantee.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. Awesome. For the 2 to 3 jobs a month, is it just like going on event shoots or like portrait shoots? Like what is it?
It depends on you know. I honestly depends a lot because I've recently gotten a lot more paid shoots.
Hmm.
I put myself out there more.
Yeah.
So let's say 2 shoots, it's 150 for 2 hours and 10 pictures. That's what I'm doing right now as in my level at my level of photography that I'm doing right now. I do want to increase my prices as time goes by, but a lot of it has to do with your image, and especially for Instagram, it has to do a lot with your Instagram followers if you're getting clients through there. So the
Hmm.
more followers you have, the more you can charge to some degree.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. My sister is an artist, and I just thought of this, and she's always like, "I'm increasing my prices like a self-respecting artist."
Yeah, I actually just increased my prices not too long ago because my one of my other friends encouraged me like, yeah, you're putting better quality out there than most people that are
Yeah.
like more expensive than you. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I was I'm very self-deprecating when it comes to that thing, so I didn't
No.
realize, but I did take their advice and I did raise my prices.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, there in terms of like creative fields, like I feel like there tends to be like a lot of cheapos out there who just like don't want to pay for art. And I'm just like, dude, like you got to pay.
Yeah. I've been counting that before, and they're like, "Oh, I have to pay," and they're like, "Well, of course, I have to drive there. I have to take time out of my day
Hmm.
to go there. I need to edit everything. It's gonna take time. And for me, time is money. So if they don't want to pay, then I obviously don't do it."
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's see. So you get your paycheck. What do you
Mhm.
do? How do you spend your money? What's the breakdown between necessities, leisure, and savings?
About half of it goes to all those necessities. So about
Hmm.
2,600 of it. About 40 to 30% of it goes to savings, and the other is more a bit of spending money.
Your breakdown kind of looks really, really similar to mine. We have a very similar income. It's actually fun, like seeing how other people like spend their money, and like I love how similar we are because it's like, damn, like I feel good about the way I spend my money because someone else is
Yeah,
doing the same thing.
yeah, of course. It's very satisfying to see you're going in the right track at least.
Yeah, yeah. At
Yeah.
least you're not alone, and like because sometimes I've had this feeling like recently when I first got my like adult job where it was like, um, I don't know if what I'm spending my money on is like legit or like
It's correct.
good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saving enough. I don't know if I'm spending too much. But it's just good. It's nice to compare, and that's why like that's why I made this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure like other people out there are like, oh my god, yeah, that's like how much I spend too. So yeah, that's awesome. In terms of your savings accounts,
Mhm.
do you like is it just like a regular savings account or do you use a high interest one or do you have like investment savings? I want to know.
Right now, I have just a regular savings account.
Mm-hmm.
And I am planning on opening a high interest account,
Mm-hmm.
but not at the moment. I'm working towards saving about 6 months of emergency money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because actually recently I paid off a lot of my debt because I had a lot of debt before.
Yeah,
Like
from
in the
school.
big yeah, from school and other like smaller things. I paid a lot of that off. So I paid off my car.
That's
So that was
freaking
about
awesome.
eight.
Congrats.
Yeah. So I have no car payments.
Hell yeah.
So a lot of money has been freed up as probably the past 2 months. So I'm still like kind of like juggling to see where that money is gonna go. It's mostly
Mm-hmm.
going on like saving, like I said, those 6 months of emergency money.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if anything happens, like I can survive for 6 months or look for something else.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like like if you ask financial experts anywhere, like on YouTube or whatever, um, literally, I can't believe the first source I cited was YouTube on that. But um, if you ask like financial experts or like people in the industry, they're always like the best thing to do with your money when you have like extra is create an emergency fund. Like the first thing you should do, create that emergency fund. And I feel like a lot of people that I've talked to, like they have been creating their emergency funds, and I love seeing that because it's like we're shedding the whole like paycheck to paycheck mindset, you
Yeah.
know. And so yeah, that's awesome. Is there any reason you're like not opening a high interest savings account yet?
Oh no, I just want to have a I just want to have a large amount before I do that. Especially if you do like a CD or something like that.
Yeah.
The more money you have, the better interest rate they give you. At least that's what I've seen. And I do have investments here and there. I do some on Acorn, Robinhood. I trade a couple stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do have money being played, but not to the degree where I'm comfortable at the moment. I'm still learning a lot, like I said, about finances
Mm-hmm.
and where I should put my money. So that's also another hesitation of mine,
Mm.
to find the right one. I do a lot of research when it comes to investing. It's just more of a comfort thing.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. I recently just learned about CDs, which are certificates of deposits. For people who don't know, I think I am not like super super well versed on
Mhm.
what they are or like what they do. So do you feel comfortable giving like a definition of like telling
Um,
people what they are?
oh Lord, let's see if I used to work at the bank, but back in the day, basically, yeah, it's just a deposit account where you deposit a certain amount of money. Let's say it's about $20,000, and you can't move that money for a certain period of time. So let's say, okay, I have a CD for 1 year, and it'll make this percentage of money. It's depending on the bank. Usually, credit unions have better interest rates. Bank of America back in the day, they were doing, I think, 0.04%, which is absolutely nothing, but it's better than their 0.01% they were doing for their savings account. So I did it for 1 year for about $10,000, and they were gonna, like, if you put $5,000 more, they could put it to 0.5% or something like that. So yeah, basically it's a savings account that you can't touch for a certain time, and if you do touch that money before that time, you get fined and stuff like that. So basically, it's like a frozen account that you can't touch.
And as a reward for keeping that money frozen, your interest,
It's a lot higher
um,
than the regular. Yes.
yeah, your interest is a lot higher than what you get even with like a high yield savings, like a regular high yield savings account.
Yeah.
Like I know right now, like my high yield savings account is like at like 3.5%.
Yeah.
And then like I invested in a CD like a few months ago, and like that percentage was like 4 point like
Yeah.
two
It's
five.
it's a lot more. Yes.
Yeah, and so that's really cool. I don't know why I didn't learn about like CDs earlier, and I think it's literally because high school failed us. Like
Yeah.
they didn't teach us any of
Basically,
the shit.
fortunately for me, funny enough, in fifth grade, I had this teacher that he was so determined to teach us everything he could in a short
What?
amount of like he taught us like financial literacy. He taught
Oh
us
my
about
god.
abortion. He taught us about politics. He taught like it was this man literally almost, I guess I could say he like opened my mind to a lot more things that I didn't know about as a kid
Hmm.
that I probably wasn't ready for, but I felt like it was more like a wake up call. If I didn't learn it from my teacher then, I think I wouldn't have learned it at all.
That that is like so
It's
awesome.
just, yeah, it's kind of sad too because I
Yeah.
know our school was so against his ways because they thought we were so young.
Hmm.
But I felt like it helped a lot of us, especially coming from like low income households that parents don't talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I love that so much. And
Yeah,
it just sounds like your teacher was like, I don't give a shit if you guys are 10. The education system sucks ass. I am going to teach you
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I
He
love
he
that.
yeah. He was a great. My mom actually put me out halfway through the year from a really shitty school that was like 2 blocks away,
Hmm.
and she put me in that classroom that was like almost like a 15-20 minute like drive from where we lived at the time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm very thankful for that at least.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I think it's important to teach kids about, the value of money and like, how all that financial literacy, like even at 10 years old, like it's never too early to learn that.
Yeah, because what my mom always told me is that school was my job, so I couldn't get a job at an earlier age. That was my job. I did want a job because I wanted money, but
Uh-huh.
I wasn't allowed
Yeah. Legally. Child
legally.
labor.
Child labor. I mean, even after I was 16, I wasn't like they wouldn't let me.
Oh my gosh. Wait, really? Oh, because they wanted you to focus on your education.
Yeah, they're like school is your job. You don't need a job. And I was like, okay, I
Um,
guess.
s- so when did you get your first job?
Oh, when I was in college, I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I also had a really bad time with my finances.
Mm-hmm.
Until I was like 22.
Oh wow. What job was it?
I worked at a sandwich. It was literally called the Sandwich Spot.
Sandwich
Um,
spot?
yeah, it's in Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I studied. It was rough because it was a retail job. I had very little experience with face to customer interactions, and it was a horrible experience at the same time. It was a good and a horrible experience
Yeah,
because
it's like,
retail and
yeah.
customer facing jobs are not fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's like food service, which is bad enough in and of itself, and then there's also customer service, and that's like
Yeah,
combined into one horrible, horrible thing. How long did you stay there?
I stayed there for about a year and a half.
And then did you hate it the whole time, or was it like okay?
It was okay at times because obviously the coworkers kind of just made everything a lot more fun.
Oh yeah.
You get to like actually talk to your coworkers, and our boss was actually pretty young
Hmm.
at the time. She was 24, like the owner.
Oh
She was
wow.
really young, like she was about 24, 25. So she was very lenient. Like as long as we did everything, like she didn't care what we were doing.
God damn.
That's,
24 owning her own restaurant. That's like boss
yeah,
ass bitch.
that's
Like love
yeah.
that.
Apparently when she was like 18, she had the opportunity to buy a restaurant for really cheap, and that became
Damn.
like her first investment. I don't remember exactly what she said, but yeah, she got really lucky that she had that opportunity, and then she opened her second restaurant, the Sandwich Spot. Yeah, honestly that was pretty amazing. That was like goals right there.
Yeah,
All that
definitely.
investment, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Question number 5. Do you have a budget? I know you talked a little bit about tracking your spending in your notes, but do you have like a strict budget? Like for example, if you hit like $700 on groceries, you just like can't spend anymore.
Yes, my grocery budget is $400 a month.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
don't allow yourself to spend more than 400.
No, I try not to go past $400.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have like also a budget for like takeout
Mm-hmm.
when I need it. Some days are just very lazy days. Like, we both don't want to cook sometimes. It's a day night. We just want pizza or something. We do have a budget for that.
Yeah. In terms of like the specific dollar amounts for your budgets, like if you are like about to go over, um, like for groceries, like you can't just like not buy groceries, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, do you allow yourself to go over and like take that money from somewhere else? Like, what is the attitude that you have towards your own budget? Like when you go over, is it like okay, or is it like, no, I can't?
I try, like, obviously everybody tries to keep to a budget. I've been pretty successful of keeping that budget.
Mm-hmm.
But if I needed it, obviously I wouldn't, especially for food. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
like groceries is probably a bad example, but for food, I'm a little bit more flexible
Mm-hmm.
because obviously sometimes you're craving something, and it's not that expensive. It could be like a $5 ice cream or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for like entertainment, I do have like a very strict budget. I'm like, okay, no more this month. Like we can't go out. Or like we can't spend money. We can go out but not spend money. We can like go hiking or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I want to be responsible for my other things. I do still need to save. I still have a goal in mind.
Have you ever regretted spending money on something?
Oh yes, college. That's the thing. That's the only thing I regret spending money on.
The only
College.
thing?
Yeah,
Oh
like
my
that's the
gosh.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
If I didn't go to college, I would have a lot more money. Well, I say that now. I probably would have spent it back then, but like, but yeah, I would be less stressed back probably like 2 or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How much did you accumulate in debt?
For college, about $25,000. It's not a
Okay.
lot, like compared to other people's. What I heard, I don't like owing money, so it
Yeah.
was like it's always looming over me.
Yeah, that is actually like a pretty substantial amount. And you said you went for 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years, and I went for about a semester to the Academy of Arts. I forgot to mention that for
Mm-hmm.
photography.
Mm-hmm.
And just for one semester, I was already $3,000 like in debt. And I was like,
Gotcha.
that's not for 4 years. Is not that's not
Yeah, holy shit. I think the average student debt for people who graduate from 4-year universities is around like 30,000. And so the fact that you were like already really close to that like after 2 years like that's just like insane
it
because
is. Yeah,
ultimately like education should be free but it's not. So that sucks.
yeah. That's a that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, definitely. That's a flex though that college was like the only thing you regretted spending money on.
Yeah. Other things I feel like if I didn't spend money on it, I especially for experiences, if it's fun, I don't regret spending money on it.
Hmm.
If it taught me a lesson, I don't regret spending money on it because I would have never learned it. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's my mindset at least.
Do you think if you didn't go to college, you probably like would have wondered or like regretted it?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But I feel like if even if I would have just started at community college, and then transferred to a 4 year after that,
Hmm.
would have been such a like a much better path. But I feel like also it was kind of pressure to actually go into a 4 year
Hmm.
straight from a high school.
Yeah.
So that's why I went honestly too. Pressure and just I wanted that money, but it didn't work out.
I felt that same exact pressure to go into a 4 year. Like community college was like not an option for me just because I tried like so fucking hard in high school, like took all the AP classes, did all the extracurriculars, and like to do all that only to go to a community college feels like really, really underwhelming. Like, did you have a similar
Yeah,
experience?
yeah, definitely. My school, well, like I said, it was they just focused on academics, so
Mm-hmm.
everybody was probably 90% of my graduating class, which was only 50 people, by the way. It was a really tiny class.
Mm-hmm.
Like 90% of them went to community college. No, not sorry, not community college. They went to a 4 year.
Mm.
And the top like 5 percentile of my class went to like an Ivy League or something like that.
Damn. Yeah. And then there's also that like prestige
Yeah,
factor and like wanting to make your parents proud and like having them or like giving them bragging rights, and that's like a lot of
basically, yeah.
pressure. Yeah. Do you remember if they were really proud like my Ari is going to UCSC, like oh my
Yeah,
god.
my mom was like ecstatic. She's like, "Oh my God, you're going to college?" Because I was gonna be the first
Mhm.
generation going to college.
Ah, the pressure of the first generation.
Yes, yeah, first generation going to college.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really felt the pressure, and I really felt really bad when I told my mom that I decided not to go to the UCSC anymore. But I
Mhm.
did explain to her that it was costing a lot of money,
Mhm.
and like I didn't have a set path that I wanted, and she
Mhm.
was very supportive. Thank God.
I love that.
She's always supported me. Especially when I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go full time photography," and then absolutely hated it, and started hating the work after.
Mhm.
She was still supportive. It was like, okay, just as long as you're happy. I was like, that took a lot of weight because I at first since I didn't really talk to her about what was going on at the moment.
Mhm.
Like I thought she was just gonna hate it. She was gonna be like, "Oh my God, why are you doing? You're supposed to go to college and make money and all that stuff." But
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. What was the biggest thing you spent money on lately?
that would be a camera lens.
Okay.
I spent about $700 on a camera lens.
Ooh, I know those go for like camera lenses can go like up to like 1,500 or
Oh
sometimes.
no, the they go up to like tens of thousands of dollars.
Okay.
If you're doing the bigger lenses, yeah. And
Holy
then an
shit.
Canon 800 millimeter like long range lens is like $10,000 or something like that.
Mhm.
Actually, a funny about 2 years ago, Amazon had they messed up and they put those for $1,300.
Oh shit. And then did people
And
buy?
yeah, and people bought it was like I think for Black Friday or Cyber Monday or something like that, and people were just bought it and they had to fulfill the orders, so they lost a lot of money.
Damn, that's actually really funny.
But yeah, the camera lens is the biggest investment I've had, and honestly, it has been worth it. I did about a week of research on just these camera lenses. They get pretty crazy. And that's a lot of people are like, "Oh, why do you charge so much?" Well, because my lenses are $600, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, and it's a lot of money to get a really good quality picture, and it has been paid off because the last couple pictures I've taken, I got more, more compliments and more clients out of it.
I love that. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
maybe also because I got a little confident with the lens, but it's it just shows you the type of quality of work that you can do when you have the tool that you actually need.
Besides college, what was the biggest thing you've ever spent money on?
My car, that's
Hmm.
the other thing I spent a lot of money on.
How much was it?
$25,000. Like I said, I paid it off. I just put $8,000 into the car. I didn't want to pay for anymore, and it saved me a lot of money since I don't have to pay any more interest on that loan
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe if you didn't go to college, you would have been able to buy that car in cash.
Yeah, basically just put everything down.
Yeah. Do you still have debt right now?
I have a bit of credit card debt
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID.
Ah.
Like I said, I've been buckling down a lot more lately, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a lot. It's just $4,000, and like I with my tax returns, I'm just planning to pay that off.
Oh, do you think your tax returns are gonna pay all of that?
Well, for the most part, yeah, and obviously still have some money going towards it still. So by that time I get my tax returns, it should be about the same amount.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Well, here's to being almost debt free.
almost. I'm just very grateful, honestly. Like in the last 6 months, a lot of things has changed for me. So
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. I love that for you. Congrats.
thank.
Yay. Question number 8. Do you wish you made more and what would you do with the extra if so?
I mean, everybody wants to make more money. Like, especially nowadays with like gas prices and egg prices are getting crazy expensive. So
Eggs, yeah.
yeah, honestly, if I had more, I would just travel more,
Hmm.
pay for like more expensive experiences that I would never think about spending on.
What are some places that you want to travel and like what are some experiences you want to
Ooh.
do?
I want to travel to Norway, the Netherlands, that part,
Okay.
so like Tokyo, South Korea.
Hmm.
I want to go visit Laos because my girlfriend's from Laos, so I
Okay.
want to go. So, and I want to go too. It's just experience other cultures.
I've never heard anyone, or like I haven't talked to anyone who wanted to go to Norway. What is there? I don't know what is there.
I want to go see the Northern Lights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's what's there.
yeah, and there's a lot of also a lot of like ice sculpture, like ice glaciers that look really great. And there's a lot. Yeah, it's just a lot. There's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds cold though.
It does, but just seeing it in person, I feel like it would just be like
Yeah.
one in a lifetime. I mean, you could do it probably a lot if you had money, but I would just do it once just for the experience to see how it is. Take a lot of pictures.
Yes.
Yeah,
You win $5 million. What would you do with it?
part of it. I feel like if you win a large amount of money, you always need to have a part of it to spend on yourself, like for whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't do it, there was always going to be that itch to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like 2 million of it would for me and my girlfriend. Like we
Hell
could do
yeah.
what with it. Like with those 2 millions, take care of everything that we need to do, and then the rest of it, I would invest it in invest it, just invest the crap out of it. Start making money with that money, basically.
Yes. Would you buy a house? A lot of people have said they want to buy a house.
If let's say I get 1 million, my girlfriend gets 1 million, I would that 1 million, I would probably put half of it into a house, and then the other half I would travel a little bit more, give some to my mom, my sister, the people I care for.
Mm-hmm. So only 500,000 into a house then.
Yeah, I would probably do half. Like I'm not an extract. Like I don't need like an extravagant,
Fancy
fancy
mansion.
house. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not at least not at the beginning. Like I'm still young. I don't need all that. I don't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
what me and my girlfriend, I also agree. Like right now, we don't need a house. We actually were gonna get a house by 2024,
Mm-hmm.
but we just noticed it's just crazy expensive to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we want to travel more. So if we had a house, we wouldn't be able to do that since we had a lot more responsibility.
Yeah, definitely. Like a house really ties you down in one place.
Yeah, and then I mean, yeah, only probably half a million. If my girlfriend would want to put more into it, she can. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably the most I would spend in a house, like right now in my age.
Yeah. And what age are you turning this year?
26. I'm getting old.
You're turning 26 this year. You're only 1 year older than me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, 26. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, if you're investing $3 million into your like investment accounts, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to buy like an extravagant mansion when you're older, and
Yeah, I
that's
want to
like more important.
build my own little homestead, and
Yeah.
have just everything I wanted in a house. And that's what I would do if I actually had, the money to do it. I would actually build my own instead of buying, because I feel like there's a lot of like quirks that I need to build into the house to make it my own.
Such as like an indoor basketball court or something. Like
No,
what
I
do
was
you?
I was just saying indoor photo studio.
Oh, I love
Yeah, like my
that.
own photo studio,
Uh huh.
like a garage with what's it called, the lift.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to start working on cars and stuff like that. Like I would just spend so much on my hobbies and stuff like that.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm like actually been thinking like I kind of want like if I am gonna buy a house, I kind of want like a space just for an art studio.
Yeah,
Um,
that's me and my girlfriend want that too. Like a studio
mhm,
just for art. She wants like a wall full of mirrors so she can dance in front of it, like stuff
mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
A
Oh, I
yoga
love it.
studio and all that.
Yes, with like huge windows. Oh,
Yeah, with like outdoor, especially if it's in a good location up in the mountains. It's gonna look amazing.
one day.
One day.
What's your next financial goal? So I know you mentioned you're saving up for an emergency fund right now, but after that,
Mhm.
what are you doing?
I do want to get another car.
Hmm.
That's probably my next financial goal. Get another car.
How come? Just to have two?
The current car right now I have, I'll probably trade it in for another, like a bigger car, and then have a sports car.
Ooh, okay.
I want something a little bigger that I can carry things. And then obviously the sports cars is mostly for pleasure. Going out for a drive and stuff like that.
Yeah. One for like business and like, practicality, one for
Yeah,
leisure.
yeah, definitely.
What do you allow yourself to spend a lot of money on?
Food, like going out, food and
Yeah.
experiences, like sushi. I love sushi.
Oh, I love sushi.
Yeah, I've spent so much money on sushi. I've slowed down a lot because I felt like we were going out too much. Like on average, we would spend about $100 just on sushi.
Yeah, two people, $100, that's pretty standard.
That's pretty, yeah, no, that's pretty good. But like it does rack up. I always like trying new food, so I if it comes to like eating out, like recently we went to go eat like fresh oysters. It's called
Hmm.
Gen. I forgot. I don't know where I forgot what it's called, but apparently it's like one of the top restaurants that you can go, because they literally like they have a farm that they get their oysters from, like really close by, so they're really fresh.
Ooh,
And it
okay.
was so good. I'll send you the location because I completely forgot what it's called.
Okay, I actually I actually hate oysters.
You hate oysters? Oh no! But they have other things like crab and things like that. It's fresh crab.
Oh.
So
Ooh, okay. Yeah, send me the location. I love crab.
yeah,
It's so good. And like the thing is there's like a lot of emphasis on like lobster, right? But they're literally the cockroaches of the sea. And
yeah,
the and like the whole reason like lobster is so expensive is because, rich people kind of took it for their own, but like it used to be
yeah,
like a poor people food, apparently.
yeah. They did. Yeah, they used to actually feed it to the like peasants back in the day.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you like lobster?
I love lobster. So it's called the Marshall Store. It's about an hour and 20 away from here.
It's called the what?
The Marshall Store, yeah.
The Marshall store?
Yeah. It's like a really like it's like a hole in the wall kind of restaurant.
Okay.
When I went there, it took us about an hour and a half to get in
Okay.
because there was a
Oh,
line.
all right. Well, not to
Yeah.
be confused with Marshall's, the discount
No, no,
clothing store.
not the clothes store, but the Marshall Store.
Okay, the
Literally,
Marshall
yeah,
store. All right.
yeah.
Okay, cool. What are you really cheap with?
Clothes for work, like I literally could wear anything for work, but I just decided to buy five long sleeve black shirts, some short sleeve black shirts, five black pants, and that's what I wear every time. I don't need anything fancy for work.
Hmm.
I can go to Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx. They have always really good, prices.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the main thing I don't spend a lot of money on.
Yeah, so luxury brands are just like no for you.
No, no, I don't do Gucci or anything like that. Like they're the same clothes for the most part.
Yeah, it's just fabric at the end of the day.
Yeah, basically. I'd rather spend it on food, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Clothes don't taste good.
Yeah, they don't.
What would you do with your life if money wasn't an issue? Would you still be at Tesla?
If like no, I wouldn't. No, I would not get Tesla if money wasn't an issue.
Hmm.
I would be traveling a lot,
Hmm.
like travel the world for some time, and then I really want a large plot of land and just build a house on it, and then be very very self sufficient.
I love that.
Like go travel, see what I want to see, and then come back to this area, and then just be at peace with nature.
That is very like 1500s chic of you.
It's very odd for a lot of people. Like, oh, I've never heard people say that. They just want to like build a little homestead and not worry about society. They're like, yeah, that's me. I just want to be left alone and do as I please in my own little land.
Yeah. I don't know if people did that in the 1500s, maybe the 1700s. I
Yeah.
don't know. But I love that. I love that a lot. Peace in retirement and just like lots of traveling.
Yeah, and then if I can help people, obviously help people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Would you still do photography?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that would be the like one of the main reasons I would
Travel?
travel. Yeah, go do photography. Go really want to go look at the sakura trees in Japan. Like that's one of my
Hmm.
goals.
I love
Want to
that.
see the tulip fields in the Netherlands. The aurora borealis in the Norway, stuff like that.
And to immortalize all of that in
Basically,
photo.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know you really love photography if you would do it, like even if you were like super fucking rich. Love that. What do you wish you could tell your younger self about money?
I wish I could tell myself to learn to control my money,
Hmm.
to know where it's going, especially
Hmm.
especially with everything going digital. A lot of people kind of forget to look where their money's going, and then they just hope that it works, that their card works at the end of the day. But yeah, learn to where my money is going, and if I guess you could say, invest in Bitcoin before
Hmm.
back in the day. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I would tell myself.
Yeah. I have like these time travel fantasies where I like go back and I tell my younger self exactly what to invest in.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that
But
would
I
change
guess
everything.
that really would. Maybe one day when time travel is invented. Um, but yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that like if you use cash, it doesn't count. And I'm like, no, you should not think that way. Like that is so bad.
And for me, if I use the card, it doesn't count because I don't see it going out of my hand.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people have like it goes like both ways, I think. Like some people think that cards don't count and then
Hmm.
some people think that cash doesn't count.
Yeah, control. That's the main goal for me is learning how to control my money. I did have a spending problem for a long time because if
Oh
I
my
saw the
gosh.
money in my bank account, I felt like I needed to spend it. Yeah, and it was really bad. Like it came to a point where I was being out of control and it went into debt. So
Yeah, I definitely like knew a few people back in the day where $300 in their bank account meant $300 to spend. That is not a very good mindset to have, I don't think.
it's not. It's very horrible.
What did you spend your money on when you had a shopping addiction?
Honestly, anything I wanted. Like if I
Just
saw
like
what I
anything and
wanted.
everything.
Yeah, basically anything and everything. That's why I needed to learn how to control my money because I don't know where that money.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
that bad. Like I see it around me. I'm like, where the hell did I spend all my money? Because I don't see it in things I have.
Yeah, that's why tracking is important because then you have like this control over it instead of just being like subject to the whims of your own
Basically, yeah.
desires.
Because when I did taxes about 2 years ago, I was like, I don't make a lot of money. I don't have money. And it's like, oh, you made $55,000 this year. I'm like, where the hell is that 55,000? Because I don't see it.
It's stressful not knowing.
Yeah, and then that's when I realized I kind of had to, step back and see where it was going.
Definitely. Well, those were pretty much all the questions that I had for you, Ariel. Thanks so much for, being so vulnerable, and like I really appreciate you hopping onto this podcast with me, and I really enjoyed learning more about you.
Thank you. And no problem. Yeah, people should be a lot more open with their finances. Learn how to use a credit card. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Learn how to use a credit card.
Yeah, that is so important. Okay, well, thanks everyone so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.